Fox Market Alert. Markets are skyrocketing after President Trump, who you see live in the Oval Office right now, just said there will be a signing soon on a deal with Iran and says it will happen, quote, possibly over the weekend. He said the signing would probably happen in Europe and that the Strait of Hormuz will open as soon as the deal is signed. President Trump also said that J.D. Vance, the vice president, would be there and that he has spoken to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We are waiting for confirmation from the Israelis on that and from the Iranians. Let's be clear about that. He's very clear that he says there is a deal. He sounds incredibly positive. This just, 12 hours after both sides exchange fire. Iran and the U.S. overnight exchanging fire. And then President Trump said this weekend that he was going to launch another missile strike tonight, then called it off because, and maybe it's the Carg Island issue. Let's take a look at crude oil here. It is doubling its losses here. It had been down about 2%. Now, West Texas Intermediate down 4%. Same with crude. Both are below $90 a barrel at the moment. He had said this morning, and maybe that's what did it, you know what, forget it. We're going to take over Carg Island, which, of course, is in the northern part of the Strait of Hormuz, northern part of the Persian Gulf. Iran controls that, and it's where they store all their oil. And he said, just like we did in Venezuela, we'll just take it over. And maybe that scared the Iranians. But again, we've seen this movie before. We have to be very cautious here. Wait till we hear from the Iranians and what are the points of the deal, and will the ending of the nuclear program in Iran be part of it, which the president always said was the deal breaker. Let's bring in a banker who's watching all of this and the huge jump in the markets right now. In a Fox Business exclusive, Dave McKay, President and CEO of Royal Bank of Canada, North America's fifth largest financial institution, joining us live from the site of the RBC Eurasia Group US-Canada Summit in Toronto. Dave, give me your thoughts here. We've got the Dow just off a gain of 1,100 points at the moment. Big moves in the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Russell as well on this hope of a peace deal. What do you think?
Well, good afternoon, Liz, and thanks for inviting me on your show. And obviously, any deal that allows for the reopening or even partial reopening of the Strait of Hormuz is welcome. Any long-lasting peace deal is welcome, and you're seeing markets react to that. You know, there's been significant damage to infrastructure in the region, particularly in Kuwait and Qatar. So it's going to take a little while for all of that to come back online. But you're seeing oil prices react and markets react accordingly. So this type of news is welcome, and hopefully it comes to fruition over the weekend.
Well, obviously, I mean, there's so much talk about everything that's happening in the markets, and that was before this breaking news that there might be a deal that's signed as early as this weekend. But there's the SpaceX IPO. RBC has some involvement in that IPO. We'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about what's going on in Canada at the moment. The head of the Bank of Canada declined to declare that Canada's economy is in a recession, but the economy has seen 2 quarters of contraction in growth. Tiny contraction here. I believe about, the indication of just 0.1% or a couple of tenths of a percent. But what are you hearing and seeing from your clients when it comes to whether we are or are not truly in a recession?
You know, it's a great point. While the numbers point to a slight technical recession, I think you can see from the very strong financial results that we had in our latest results 2 weeks ago that generally the banking industry here in Canada had that our clients are active, our clients are healthy, consumers are spending. And I would say the economy is really resilient. We're seeing good growth. And I would expect that those numbers probably weren't reflected in the Q2 Bank of Canada numbers. And you'll see those more reflected in the Q3 numbers, where we fully expect the economy to show 1 to 1.5% growth. You saw very strong job creation in Canada, like the U.S., 88,000 jobs created in Canada over the last month. So reversing a couple of months of negative employment growth. Strong consumer, strong employment growth, good activity on the wholesale market side, on the investment side, a little slower on the real estate side in Canada. Net, we expect to bounce back to 1.5% growth for the last 2 quarters of the year and into next year. So we're feeling more positive, and I think our results are the leading indicator of better things to come.
Dave, we've got great things in front of us, and certainly in front of investors over the last year when it comes to the tech trade. I am looking at the NASDAQ right now. At the moment, it's up 603 points, completely erasing yesterday's 509-point loss. And I'd love to know how you and your investors are heading into this, because Canada was very famous for, and Canadian banks were very famous for not getting caught up in the maelstrom, the tornado of the mortgage, the subprime mortgage excitement that led up to the financial crisis and the housing explosion and implosion. So how are you looking at this, as a bubble and being cautious, or going all in?
On specific and the infrastructure around artificial intelligence, I think
Yes.
you're referring to. Obviously there is an enormous opportunity, and I think that's a big part of the conference here as we talk about artificial intelligence. The godfather of AI is Geoffrey Hinton, Nobel laureate from Toronto, from the University of Toronto. The U.S. has done an incredible job in commercializing the technology, the capabilities, particularly with Anthropic and others, OpenAI. So very, very strong capabilities. And we look at the banking industry alone, and one of the reasons you've seen a very significant run up in RBC stock, and you just showed the chart, we're very proud of our market cap and our overall position of our stock. It's a bit of an AI play on Canada. You think the significant cost-based banks have the ability to deploy AI into customer solutions, into back office solutions. So a little bit of the run up we're seeing in markets in Canada, particularly around banks, is recognition that this is a good way to play the AI investment thesis in our country. As we have less frontier origination model creators, or hyperscalers, you might call them, in Canada. So that plays into the country. So
Gotcha.
A lot of debate about the risks of AI at the same time. But when we look at our contact center, our front line, our back office, using AI, we've deployed it across the organization. We've built our own chipset with NVIDIA. We have our own tech stack. We create our own tokens here at RBC, which is unique among most banks, and therefore it's more cost effective for us to deploy AI across our organization. We're all in, and we're incredibly excited about the future.
Well, we're cheering on our neighbors to the north there. Dave McKay, thank you very much for joining us. We are coming right back. Stay with us. Dow is up 9.